Welcome back to MLB 26's Road to the Show. I'm your host, Action Jackson Wilson, third-round draft pick for the Miami Marlins, and the top-ranked closing pitcher prospect. Back for his sophomore season, year 2, and we are beginning it with AAA Jacksonville. Jackson is in Jacksonville. It's got his name in it. See if we can make this into our own personal playground and make the big league club.
The third baseman, number 4, Tanner.
The Jumbo Shrimp leading the St. Paul Saints here on opening night of the 2027 season. And there's a look at Wilson, ready to go for this one. He's looking for a fresh start after getting roughed up with Jacksonville last September. But the Marlins kept him on the club. And now he's ready to show off what he's got after some off-season conditioning. It'll be the 6, 7, and 8 hitters for St. Paul. Here in the top of the 9th inning, first pitch of Wilson's campaign is taken for a strike. Wilson's got that 5-pitch arsenal. He just showed you the cutter. He also has a 4-seam fastball, a changeup, a curveball, and a slider. Wilson throws a lot of strikes. Doesn't walk very many people, so you can count on him to be efficient in that regard. But sometimes it results in him getting hit. He's looking to continue to improve his stuff, as he barely misses with that fastball. It's 1-1. Glad you're with us here on Ladder of Light Gaming. Like, comment, and subscribe, especially if you are new. I think we've reached 72 subscribers. We gained 3 last night. Thank you very much, guys. It's always appreciated. Here's a little soft line drive to second. One hop up into the glove, one down.
Now batting.
So Jackson Wilson gets his new season started out on the right foot. 2 outs away from picking up his 3rd save as a member of the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, dating back to last year. Here's Gabriel Garcia, who is 1 for 3 in this season opener with a single. He bats from the right side, the closed stance in the back of the box. Wilson working from the stretch, bases empty. The pitch, there's a called strike. 97 miles per hour, St. Paul going with a patient approach. Wilson's not the pitcher you want to be patient against. He'll get ahead of you in the count more often than not if you do that. And now here's that changeup that swerves below the knees, and it's swung on and missed by Gonzalez, who was completely fooled. No balls and 2 strikes. Wilson looks in for another sign. He has it. He's going to go with a breaking ball, the Uncle Charlie. But the hitter remains patient. It's 1-2. Jackson Wilson was taken in the 3rd round of the 2025 MLB draft out of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. He attended Eastern High School in Asheville, North Carolina. The pitch. That's ripped down the left field line, and that's going to go foul. Hard hit. Gonzalez is going to have to come back. Wilson looking for some redemption right here. He's got to keep Gonzalez off the bases, only leading by a run. And he cannot put him away just yet. Gonzalez fouls it at the plate. That was a slider. Wilson's going to throw him that pitch again. This time a little further away. He delivers. There's a swing and a miss. Gonzalez just couldn't resist pulling the old trigger. And as a result, Wilson pulled the string on him. 2 down here in the top of the 9th, and Gonzalez was completely off balance. Wilson led Double-A Pensacola with 42 saves last year at that level, which was tops in the entire world. Now he's looking to get locked in here in Jacksonville. Ground ball up the middle. Shortstop to his right. Ball game over. That's a 1-2-3 9th inning in the books for Jackson Wilson. And the Jumbo Shrimp are undefeated in 2027 as they beat the St. Paul Saints, a final of 2-1. The win for Michael Peterson, the loss for Kendry Rojas, and the save for Jackson Wilson, who comes in as the number 4 ranked closer in baseball and number 23 in the Miami Marlins entire player system. Great start, and I see we got a viewer. Welcome in. This is Action Jackson Wilson with Ladder of Light Gaming. You only missed 1 game, and it was my first save of the year. Playing on GOAT difficulty. This is MLB 26 Road to the Show. To the person watching this, I don't care who you are, what you've been through, I love you, but God loves you more. You've got to make Jesus your Lord and Savior. I pray that you would do so now. He is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through Him, and He is the only way to heaven and eternal life. You're either going to heaven or you're either going to hell. And the difference maker is whether you have Jesus or not. That's what decides it. So, receive this message and treasure it. As a messenger of Christ, it is my duty to give it to you. All right, let's get into the bullpen. Continue working on our stuff. You can never have too much control. Got to stay grounded with that. Because if I'm going to throw strikes, I got to make sure I do it effectively. All right, now the Jumbo Shrimp hit the road to take on the Knights of Charlotte. Close to Wilson's hometown, just 2 hours east from where he grew up. Wilson's going to have to lock up a 4-out save this time around. He'll enter with the tying run at first base, 2 out, and Ivan Melendez coming to the plate. Wilson looked solid in his opening day appearance. Set the St. Paul Saints down in order to pick up his 3rd save overall as a member of the Jumbo Shrimp Club. Now he's in his road threads for the first time in 2027. Part of the order coming up for the Charlotte Knights. We're hosting the Jumbo Shrimp here at All-American Park. Wilson looking to keep it down, get ahead in this count. The pitch. There's a called strike over the outside corner at 96. Melendez wants a challenge, and he loses it. That's right on the edge. Barely, but it still counts. It's 0-1 from Jackson Wilson. Now a breaking ball is headed home. It's tapped foul at the plate, 0-2, and you can already tell. If you watched footage of Wilson last year at AAA and compare it to now, you should already notice a difference. He's been super effective with the movement on his pitches here tonight and in his previous game. It only took 2 to 3 pitches to notice that. Runner at first base, 2 out. 2-1 Jacksonville. Jumbo Shrimp coming off a series win to begin the year. They took 2 out of 3 from the St. Paul Saints, trying to take the opener here in Charlotte. But first things first, Wilson's got to get him out of the 8th. Tying run at first base as he misses outside. It's 2-2. Melendez 1 for 5 on the season. Wilson's going to go back to the breaking ball right here. The pitch on the way to Ivan Melendez. Grounded to first. Good stab right there, and that's the inning. Wilson gets help from his defense. Sometimes going to need that because he's not the most effective strikeout pitcher. But that's okay. It's better than putting people on. Now Josh Breaux. He's got the lone RBI tonight for the Charlotte Knights on, yep, you guessed it, a home run. He's 2 out of his first 6, and he'll bat against Wilson as the Knights have one more opportunity to get back in this game. That's a slider off the outside of the plate. Wilson doesn't challenge, and it was the right decision. That was a very tempting pitch to challenge, but it was the right call. It's ball 1. Now there's a high strike at the top shelf at 97 miles per hour from Wilson, who added 4 miles per hour into his velocity coming out of college. He's mixing it up with a 5-pitch arsenal, and the first baseman will knock this down. Wilson's got to get over there, and he's safe. So that's going to be an infield single for Charlotte. Wilson was late getting over there. That's my fault. I thought the first baseman came up with that cleanly. And because we had a slow runner, he still would have had plenty of time to get over. But they're going to score that an infield single, and now here is Enrique Hernandez. Hernandez is 0 for 3. He grounded out back in the 2nd. And now the catcher will come out to converse with Wilson, who just committed a rookie/sophomore mistake. I don't care who the base runner is, you got to get over there. I take responsibility for that. And now with nobody out, and a runner at first base, Kike Hernandez sent back down to the minor league level to refresh his game. He'll face Wilson here, and he takes a strike, a beauty over the inside corner at the knees for strike 1. Hernandez represents the winning run. The former World Series champion of the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Boston Red Sox waits on another, and that's taken off the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike as Wilson throws him the curve. Catcher puts down another curveball. The pitch by Wilson to Kike Hernandez. It's a beauty at the knees, but Hernandez showing off that Major League Baseball IQ. Not an easy player to fool. So now Wilson's going to try to give him the high cheese. The pitch. That's line down the right field line foul. 98 miles per hour out of the hand of Jackson Wilson. Boy, he just continues to throw harder and harder every time that we see him. Puts in a lot of work. What can I say? The 2-2 pitch. Can't fool Hernandez. That's out in front of the plate. They're going to try to advance the tying run, and he's safe. So even with the slow-a-foot bro over at first base, he's still able to advance because that ball kicked out about 30 to 40 feet in front of the catcher. He had to go all the way to the infield grass to pick that up. And now all of a sudden the Knights can move this runner over 90 feet away if they want to. Wilson's going to go for the knockout punch here against Hernandez. The pitch. Nope. Put him on base. So now the winning run is at first. Tying run moves to second. So Wilson, who's faced 3 hitters, he's retired the first one to get out of the 8th. But then he gives up an infield single and a walk. And now William Bergolla, who's been swinging a hot bat, 2 for 3 with 2 singles, will walk to the plate with an opportunity to tie it and maybe even win it for the Knights with a well-placed hit into the outfield gap. The pitch by Wilson, called strike, 95 miles per hour over the inside corner. Now the catcher puts down a slider. Wilson agrees and delivers to Bergolla. Swing and a miss, way out in front. Slider fooled him, and it's 0-2. Now Wilson's going to look to put him away. 2 on with nobody out. The pitch to Bergolla. Perfect release, and he popped it up. Infield fly has been called. Shortstop makes the catch. And a big first out here in the bottom of the 9th picked up by Wilson. Jacksonville maintains its 2-1 lead, and the runners will have to stay put at first and second. Now a twin killing will end the game. Braden Montgomery, who is a double play candidate, walks to the plate. He may be big, but he is slow. The pitch by Jackson Wilson is lined into left field. That's a base hit, and we are going to be tied. First blown save of the season for Jacksonville. It belongs to Jackson Wilson. The Knights have tied it. It's 2-2 here in the bottom of the 9th. Wilson went first pitch changeup. Montgomery caught it off the end of the bat, but he got enough behind it. He's a big, strong guy to get it into left field. Now Chattanooga is a hit away from winning this game, and now the manager will make a move. So Wilson, who has blown a couple of saves last year with Jacksonville, blows his first one here in 2027, and all he can do is shake his head. The failure to cover first base on that first batter really came back to bite him. But you know what? When you make a mistake, you don't hang your head, you live and learn from it. And now it looks like the Knights are going to walk it off, and they do. So Wilson came in with 4 outs to go, leading 2-1, but he could not lock it down. He was able to get us out of the 8th, but Charlotte rallies for the win. And Wilson's probably going to take the loss if this occurred in the 9th inning. Yep, we dropped the 0-1 on the year. But that's okay. Got to expect some bumps in the road in this game. It's not easy. Jackson Wilson looking to stay locked in and earn that opportunity to pitch for the Miami Marlins at the big league level. 2 earned runs scoring in that bottom of the 9th inning, both charged to Jackson Wilson. And he'll look for some redemption here against Charlotte today. Wilson's ERA jumps up to 10.8 in his first 2 appearances. Got to love the support of his manager and his catcher. He prepares for another dynamic challenge. Extra baseball, free baseball here in Charlotte. Bottom of the 10th inning, Jacksonville 4, Charlotte 3. Wilson will start by facing William Bergolla, who represents the tying run. Wilson's not too concerned about that runner at second. He just has to get out of this frame. And he starts Bergolla out with the changeup right at the knees. But that's called low for ball 1. Wilson deciding not to challenge. Again, that's the right decision. Now here comes a 1-0. Quick pitch, and it's a strike at the knees. 1-1 from Jackson Wilson. Wilson doesn't check on the runner, just focuses on the hitter. That's lined into left and caught by the third baseman. Weak contact. All he had to do was move to his right. Great job, defense. Appreciate y'all. It's a first of 3 big outs. The 3 biggest outs in a baseball game, if you will. Now Charles McDonald. Wilson's going to start him out with a cutter, and that is a beauty over the inside corner, called a strike. McDonald wants a challenge, and he's right. That's the thing. Not only can pitchers challenge, but the hitters can do it as well. And that, unfortunately, did not go Wilson's way. The runner at second does not have good speed, so all Wilson has to do is focus on the batter. That's ripped into right for a base hit. Wilson threw it in on his hands. They're going to hold the runner at third. It actually would have been a close play at first if they threw it directly over there. It's a good at bat for Charles McDonald. First and third, 1 out. Now the winning run is coming to the plate in the person of Caleb Bonnemer. First pitch from Jackson Wilson is a beauty for strike 1. That's one thing that the Jumbo Shrimp could count on Wilson to do, is get ahead in counts. He issued a free pass in the last game, but for the most part, 90 to 95% of the time, Wilson's throwing strikes. The question is his stuff right? That's taken outside 1-1. That's the thing. If you're going to throw a lot of strikes, you got to have a lot of movement on your pitches. Wilson's had some work to do in that regard, but he's slowly but surely developing into the superstar that the Marlins envisioned when they drafted him. That's perfectly placed again. 1-2. No runs have scored yet here in the bottom of the 10th inning for Charlotte. Wilson looking to lock up his second save in 3 opportunities. Came into this 10th with a 4-2 lead. The ghost runner was at second. Got the first out, and he gave up a soft single, which allowed the runner to go to third, but because of his speed, he had to stay put. The pitch. Outside, there's a slider at 86 miles per hour, 2-2. For those of you that may be tuning in for the first time, we play on that GOAT difficulty. So this is the greatest challenge that we are up against. It's tough to get these hitters out no matter where they are in the lineup, but it's only going to battle test us. Ground ball to third. There's 1 and 2. A double play. Jackson Wilson and the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp have their redemption. They've tied the series with an extra inning triumph here in Charlotte, a final of 4-2. Wilson's second save in 3 opportunities. Did a great job pitching under pressure despite giving up that 1-out single. Let's keep it on, guys. Keep it rolling. Jumbo Shrimp winning 3 out of their first 5 games at the beginning of the year. Hopefully we can keep that up so I can get more appearances, get more action. And ultimately, give the scouts some more attention as well. We're going for the big leagues, like every minor leaguer's dream is. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. This is Jackson Wilson with Ladder of Light Gaming.
Number 14.
In the middle of a series here in the minor leagues. AAA Jacksonville playing at Charlotte. Jackson Wilson coming off his second save in 3 opportunities. He makes his 4th appearance of his sophomore season. We're just getting rolling here in 2027. The New York Yankees won the World Series last year over the Los Angeles Dodgers. I figured I'd throw that out there, even though we haven't made the big leagues yet. We got drafted by the Miami Marlins with the 3rd round pick. We played at Pensacola for majority of last season. We led the league in saves, playing on GOAT difficulty. Now here we are in Jacksonville looking to protect another 2-run lead. Kike Hernandez first up against Jackson Wilson. Was an ERA of 6.75 in his first 3 outings. There's a called strike to Kike Hernandez from Jackson Wilson. Wilson, who turned 24 last year after graduating North Carolina with a bachelor's degree. Pitched for the Tar Heels out of East High School, and now here he is in the Miami Marlins system. Swing and a miss by Kike Hernandez. You don't get very many swings and misses with him, so that's a credit to Wilson right there on that nasty curveball. That was executed to perfection. Now he's looking to tie up Hernandez with an 0-2 fastball on the top shelf. The pitch.
Nope.
Hernandez wisely lays off. 1-2 from Jackson Wilson. Wilson grew up 2 hours from here in the state of North Carolina. He's an Asheville native, and now he's pitching in Charlotte. He's got family members in town for this series. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Hernandez down on strikes. The catcher can take his time. Hernandez was not hustling down the line. 1 down and 2 to go for Jackson Wilson here at Charlotte. We're in the bottom of the 9th inning with the Jumbo Shrimp leading the Knights 3-1. Wilson locked in. Seeing a lot more of that breaking ball in comparison to last year. He's got a lot of confidence in that pitch. Going to keep him down. When you go up, it's got to be up and in. A lot of my pitches were over the middle of the plate, and that's why I was getting hit hard in certain cases last year. Here's that cutter that's lined and knocked down by the third baseman, and he's going to retire Keston Hiura. 2 down. Hiura with his hands on his hips. He can't believe it. We'll most certainly take that. 2 down, and now it's up to William Bergolla. Wilson not wasting any time. First pitch cutter up and in is lined, and the first baseman makes a stab. Ball game over. Charlotte hits it hard, but the Jacksonville defenders were that much better. Wilson picks up his 3rd save in 4 opportunities, throwing those strikes, letting his defense do the work. Sometimes that's all you have to do. Wilson with a decent strikeout rate of 14.3. He's lowered that walk rate to 7%. Expect that to be much, much lower by the end of the season. I'm confident I'm not going to issue very many free passes. And that one loss for Wilson came in a blown save, which occurred earlier in this series. But Wilson and the Jumbo Shrimp have not looked back since. They trailed 1-0 entering the top of the 7th in what was a pitcher's duel. They scored 2 to take the lead, then 1 more in the 8th. We'll confirm the advance and keep on going. We got that 4.91 ERA. You take away that game where I blew the save, giving up 2 runs, we haven't given up anything other than a couple of hits and a walk. We're going to get to the big league level. We got to maintain that consistency. This series rolls on. Wilson going for the triple whammy here as the Jumbo Shrimp look to stay hot behind their very capable closing pitcher prospect. Another dynamic challenge is in the air. Shout out to my teammates, man. Another 2-run lead to work with as Josh Bro walks to the plate for the Knights. Wilson trying to tell Charlotte night-night for the 3rd consecutive game. Yes, that pun was intended. Wilson ready from the stretch. Bases empty, nobody out. First pitch, a beauty, and it's grounded foul down the 3rd base line. Had Bro off balance. He was looking for a fastball, but credit to him, he still was almost able to turn that into a double. The 0-1. Breaking ball, past Wilson. Shortstop backs him up. Still got plenty of time to throw him out because of his speed. 1 down. So Wilson almost made a great stab. He needed some help from his teammates once again. But this is a good sign for the Marlins organization. If Wilson's not getting strikeouts, he's getting soft contact, or his defense is able to make plays. The Marlins drafted Wilson knowing he can throw a lot out of strikes, as you're seeing right here. But when he's got hitters off balance like this, it's music to the organization's ears. They really got something special if Wilson can keep this up. The 0-1 ties up Hiura with a fastball. Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. Wilson blew a save in the opening game of this series at Charlotte, but ever since then, he has been on lockdown. He retired Keston Hiura on a line out in the previous game. And in this one, he's got him on strikes. 2 down here in the bottom of the 9th inning. You best believe there's a lot of Jumbo Shrimp fans and Marlin fans tuning in to watch this coverage. The fans have got to be excited witnessing this. Jackson Wilson starting to look like he is in top form, making former big leaguers look silly. Keston Hiura has been in the bigs for a couple of years now. He was on a couple of playoff teams in Milwaukee. So if Wilson's making him look off balance, he's doing something right. Now Bergolla, the last man standing for the Knights, fouls it away, strike 1. This is the right guy you want up for the Knights if you want to keep this game going. He's been on base twice. He's homered, singled, and stole a base. He's got to get on right here if the game wants to extend. They can get the tying run to the plate, but that's not going to do it. Another weak ground ball. Second baseman jumps on it, and Jackson Wilson again secures the save, his 3rd of this series. He's coming out of the gates firing, 4 out of his first 5, and the Jumbo Shrimp take a 3-2 lead in this 6-game series in Wilson's home state of North Carolina. Come on, fire me up, guys. This is exactly how we want to start the season. We had one bump in the road, but that's okay. While we got a break in the action, I'll update you guys on our other series. We just finished Season 2 of The Walking Dead. Be sure to check that out. Season 3 beginning tomorrow. And also we got more sports coverage, including MLB The Show. I'm not 100% on this yet, but I may put out another Backyard Baseball 97 season leading up to the Backyard Baseball remake, which is coming out in July of this year. So stay locked in, guys. You're in the right place if you want entertainment. This is Ladder of Light Gaming with Action Jackson Wilson. I also want to give a shout out to my partner, Jacob Bates, who's also put out a lot of great contact. He hasn't been as available because he's had a lot going on, including a brand new kid. He is now a father officially. So, Bates, if you're watching, once again, congratulations to my brother in Christ. I hope to have kids of my own someday, but it's all in his timing. Hey, look at the bright side. I'm an uncle. There's nothing wrong with being an uncle first. All right, back to our regular scheduled programming. Looks like we're going to be coming home to take on the Norfolk Tides. The home fans hoping Wilson can continue the momentum that he generated out in Charlotte. Last September, Wilson couldn't get anybody out, it seemed, in certain cases. But again, the offseason, we don't treat like an offseason. You know, Wilson was putting in work all winter long, continuing to beef up his control. And overall, it's now up to 55. Playing on that GOAT difficulty, we're taking the tough road, the skinny road. Straight is the gate, but there are few who find it. A very important lesson in God's Word. We're called to stand out from the world, not fit in. So if you guys get judged or you get persecuted because of your faith in Christ, don't be intimidated by it, because at the end of the day, you're on the winning team. Jesus has already conquered the world. He died on the cross for the forgiveness of your sins. He resurrected from the grave. The salvation is secure for those who are obedient to Him and follow Him. We may stumble, but we will not fall. Check out the Jumbo Shrimp. Even though they stumbled last year, they picked up Jackson Wilson, who has really elevated them here in the new campaign. So far in 2027, Jacksonville's 6-3. And their closer, Jackson Wilson, is 4 out of 5. With a 3.86 ERA, he looks solid. His goal is to get at least a taste of the big leagues this year. Heston Kjerstad, another former big leaguer. He'll walk to the plate either in the top of the 8th inning for Norfolk. Trailing by 3 here at Jacksonville. Jacksonville just 1 point behind Norfolk in the league standings. The Tides came in on a heater, winners of 7 of their first 9. With Wilson trying to put out the fire. He's going to stick with the smoke to Heston Kjerstad. The kick and the pitch. High strike, nothing in 2. No challenge from Kjerstad. Because of his height, Wilson got that call. Now the 0-2 breaking ball is coming next. Wilson deals. Ground ball to the shortstop. Flip the second inning over. The momentum continues to swing in a positive direction for Jackson Wilson and the Jumbo Shrimp. Wilson showing why his name is in the city title for a reason. Now the former St. Louis Cardinal, Lucan Baker, will stand in. Wilson should know because he grew up a Cardinals fan. Baker usually struggled hitting breaking balls, so that's what Wilson's going to start him out with. That looked like a pretty good pitch to me. We'll go ahead and challenge that. Looked like it was knee-high, but Wilson does not get the call. It's upheld. It's a 1-0 count to Lucan Baker to begin the top half of the 9th inning. It's all Jacksonville leading 4-1. Now a 1-0 fastball headed home from Wilson. That's also low and in. It's 2-0. So rarely does Wilson fall behind in the count, but he does right here. It's 2-0. He's going to go change up to Baker, who should be swinging right here. Nope, he's taking all the way. That's going to be another challenge. The umpire got the first one right. I don't know about this one. Yep, that's over the outside corner for a strike. This time Wilson is correct on the challenge. It's now 2-1 on Lucan Baker. That was a big pitch right there. You don't want to put the leadoff man on, especially leading by 3 in the 9th inning. 2-2, or rather 2-1 is fouled off. Now we have a 2-2 count. So Lucan Baker tried his best to handle that breaking ball, but Wilson still had him off balance. Now he's looking to tie him up with the fastball. And he does! Perfect release at 95 miles per hour. See you later. Wilson rallies from a 2-0 count and gets his man on strikes to begin the top half of the ninth. Frederick Bedscombe, the left-handed batter, settles into the box. He's played a key role in Norfolk's early season success with 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, and one of the hottest averages on the team at .324. He'll look to start a rally against Wilson, but he's taking all the way with the Tides trailing by 3. That had to be a manager's decision right there, because otherwise he probably would have been up there swinging. He's got to be the most confident person in this Norfolk lineup right now. But Wilson is going to set him down. Of course, if the third baseman can make a good throw, which he does. So Jackson Wilson, who has done a great job in allowing hitters to make contact, it's finally an instance where they're not finding holes. It seemed like I couldn't catch a break at certain points last year. Of course, playing on GOAT difficulty will definitely make it more difficult for you. The game's going to be a lot more cheesy. But that's okay. We're up for the challenge. First pitch to Sam Huff. Another red-hot Norfolk hitter is taken in the dirt for ball 1. Huff, just like the previous 2 hitters, taking a strike. Now here comes a 1-0. Thought about swinging, but that high cheese was by him before he could make his final decision. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wilson now starting to have that velocity. Started out throwing just 91 in high school. Now he's up to 97. It's kind of like his buddy Max Scherzer, who added 5 miles per hour to his arsenal between his freshman and sophomore year at Missouri. Look at that slider. The hitter completely off balance, and that is it. Got new viewers? You came just in time. We got a red-hot Jackson Wilson. He saved 5 out of his first 6 opportunities to begin his sophomore year with the Miami Marlins. He hasn't made the big leagues yet, but we're slowly but surely making strides on GOAT difficulty. As you can see, the walk rate is low. We got a 19% strikeout rate. A 4-out save for Jackson Wilson for the hometown fans. Jacksonville winners of 7 of its first 10 to begin the 2027 AAA season. Wilson, who started out at East High School in the University of North Carolina, was taken in the 3rd round by the Miami Marlins. Started out at AA Pensacola, led the league in saves, and now here he is as a jumbo shrimp, putting up jumbo numbers. Actually, you could put that in reverse. Wilson's got that golf mindset. You want to have the lowest number possible, particularly in that ERA column, and Wilson has lowered that to 3. He's only allowed at least 1 run in 1 outing this year, and that was his blown save, which came earlier in the season against Charlotte. But ever since then, Wilson has saved 5 in a row. And now Willie Vasquez. This is another 4-out save for Jackson Wilson, potentially. But he's in a tight spot here with 2 on and 2 out here in the top of the 8th inning. Jacksonville only leading by 1. It's 5-4. Wilson's going to go with the fastball to Willie Vasquez, and it's right over the inside corner for strike 1. Catcher puts down a changeup, but Wilson's going with the breaking ball. He's been very successful with this pitch, and it continues. That's swung on and missed by Willie Vasquez. 0-2. Vasquez checking the bat, jokingly trying to make sure it doesn't have a hole in it. Now we're going to go with the slider. You thought the curveball was vicious. Wait till you see this. Look at that. It's all we need right there. You either get a swing and a miss or slow contact. When you have an 0-2 count on him, you really have no choice but to go after it if it's close. The hitter was completely confused, and Jackson gets him, stranding 2 runners in the top of the 8th, and now his teammates double the lead. 6-4 Jacksonville as the 9-1-2 hitters come to bat for the Norfolk Tides. They entered this series as the hottest team in the division, winning 7 of 9. But the Jumbo Shrimp had something to say about that, especially Jackson Wilson, who's looking to lock down 2 big victories in front of this raucous home crowd. They're ecstatic for their top closing pitcher prospect as he continues to take more and more steps toward the big leagues. That's hit fair down the third base line. Good start to this 9th inning for Norfolk. Great job by the left fielder to cut it off and hold that to a long single. Now the designated hitter, Lucan Baker, will walk to the plate. You can see that was fitted perfectly inside the third base line. Baker, who's got plenty of pop in his bat, can tie this game with 1 swing. If you're Jackson Wilson, you got to be careful, and I'm sure that's what the catcher's talking about with him as well. Schroeder and Wilson break up their team meeting. And now here's the pitch to Luken Baker. Cutter grounded to short. This could be two. Smooth as silk by the shortstop. There's one and two. A double play. 6-4-3. It only took one pitch for Wilson to respond. He gets another ground ball. Weak contact once again. And because of Luken Baker's slow speed, he's doubled up. Well done by the defense. Excellent. Now Troy Johnston. Ties have to start over. They need a base runner to get the tying run to the plate. Swung on and missed by Johnson. He came out ready to hack. He swung out of his shoe tops. But Wilson made him look foolish. He was looking fastball. He gave him the changeup. Now the 0-1 coming from Jackson Wilson. Here it is. Fastball popped foul and out of play. Tides down to their final strike. Wilson trying to put this away for his 6th successful save in 7 appearances. The delivery. Ball. Down and away. Good plate discipline by Johnston. Wilson immediately attracting the Marlins big league scouts. He's been electrifying AAA opponents here in Jacksonville here in 2027. Popped up. The dominance by Wilson will continue. Another big win for the Jumbo Shrimp. A final of 6-4 over the Tides. And they lead this series 2-0. And as a result, Jacksonville is now in first place in its division. The International East, in which the Jumbo Shrimp resided in its cellar in 2026. Right now, they're at the peak. They're on top of the mountain. They're in the cabin overlooking the entire wilderness. Let's keep it up, guys. Big second inning, and we made it stick. The Tides looked to rally. They scored 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 7th. We got some insurance in the 8th after Wilson got a crucial third out in the top half of the inning. And he continues to amaze. His ERA is down to 2.45. You know, it's such a beautiful day, guys. 1, because the Lord has made it, but 2, it's not only nice weather out here. I've got the windows open with fresh air coming into our broadcast studio, but we're getting wins. You have the most fun by winning. I know there's a lot more to that than just the result, but winning never gets old, guys. I will say this. Unfortunately, we don't have that feeling at the moment today. Wilson being called on for a rare 7th inning appearance. I think this is the first time I've ever pitched in a 7th inning at any level. It just goes to show how much the Jumbo Shrimp are counting on Wilson to be their right-hand man when it comes to setting an offense down. It's nice to have that reputation, and Wilson's definitely earned it. Here's a swing and a miss on an 85-mile-an-hour changeup, and it's strike 2 to Troy Johnston. Johnston entered this game with a red-hot average of .383. So far, he hasn't looked like that against Wilson. The 0-2 pitch. Ripped and fair, but what a play by the first baseman to save what looked like a certain double. Lopez, like many others on this Jumbo Shrimp team, backing up Wilson with Gold Glove caliber plays. This is something that Wilson did not have, even though he was dominant at Pensacola. But with Wilson throwing strikes coupled with this kind of play behind him, it's no wonder this team is in first place. Here's a perfect cutter at 92 miles per hour. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm getting more perfect releases than I ever had. I started out a little bit rusty in that regard. It's not easy to play on GOAT difficulty, but we're not backing down. Over time, we're going to get the hang of it. We're going to own this challenge. Here's a long fly ball into the gap in right center field. This ball is gone for a home run. That hits off the MLB The Show 26 billboard as Jerstad took Wilson out of here. 409 feet. That's the 3rd run given up by Wilson. It's his first long ball, and it's 7-2 Norfolk. I tell you what, if you hit the ball out of here in that part of the park, you definitely cashed in. Then that kind of a game for the Jumbo Shrimp. And now Wilson will go after another former big leaguer, John Kinsey Noel. A walk-off home run for the Cleveland Guardians against the New York Yankees in the American League Championship Series just a couple of years ago. So this guy is big time, and he shows it right there. First pitch he sees from Wilson, he lines it into the right field corner. But he's going to have to stay put at first base with a one-out single. Now Frederick Benscombe. The pitch by Wilson is hit in the air to center field. Again, the Tide's coming out aggressive, hacking on the first pitch. But there's out number 2. Noel will have to retreat back to first base. So in the inning, with Jacksonville trailing 6-2, Wilson came in, got a ground out to first, and he gave up a solo home run to Heston Gerstad. And then after giving up a single to Noel, he got a fly out to center. Now it's up to Lucan Baker to keep this 7th inning going for the Tides, who have redemption on their mind after dropping the first 2 games of this series against the Jumbo Shrimp. Wilson starts Baker out with a slider. It's taken inside 1-0. Baker, open stance, back of the box. Wilson's toe on the edge of the rubber, the 1-0 delivery. Baker spoils a changeup. It's 1-1 from Jackson Wilson. Let's try a cutter this time. The pitch on the way. There's a long fly ball by Lucan Baker. And this one is going to be off the wall. Noel being waved around third. The throw by the shortstop is going to be late. More insurance for Norfolk. It's 8-2. As Baker figures out Wilson here in the top of the 7th inning. That ball was jacked. Now Creed Williams. With a runner at second, 2 down. The pitch by Wilson is a called strike at 95 miles per hour. Williams hitting .440, the highest on the team, but he's without a hit today. He's been on base with a walk, and he's scored a run, but he's 0 for 2. Wilson not afraid of him. He's going to go after him with a smoke. There's a line drive into left center field. That's going to fall for a base hit. The runner stopped at third originally, and now they're going to send him, and he will score. 3 runs across for Norfolk here in the top of the 7th inning against Jackson Wilson. It has not been his day after coming in red hot, 6 consecutive saves. And now the manager is going to keep him in the game. Wow, coach. And now a line drive foul down the left field line. 0-1 to Carson Taylor. I mean, look at all these high averages. This Norfolk team is dangerous from top to bottom. The pitch by Wilson inside, and that gets away. Wilson's going to have to track it down. Runner will move up to second base. So this rough 7th inning continues for Wilson, who came in red hot, throwing 5 consecutive scoreless outings. But in a non-save situation with his team already losing, things have really gotten away from the Jumbo Shrimp here today. Wilson, however, 1 strike from getting out of this 7th inning. He's 5 out of 6 in save opportunities. That's a positive for him. He's given up 3 runs today. But other than that, it's been a great campaign thus far. There's a swing and a miss. He got him on the changeup, and that finally sets down the Tides. And this is going to be a well-deserved 7th inning stretch for these players and fans here today. That took a while, but Wilson finally got out of it. Not the Jumbo Shrimp's day. They trail 9-2 against the Norfolk Tides here in the 7th inning. Welcome to the new viewers to Ladder of Light Gaming. This is Jackson Wilson, returning for the top of the 8th after giving up 3 in the 7th. Nate George, the number 9 hitter, will bat for Norfolk, and it's back to the top of the order. You got to figure that after the next base runner, Wilson's going to be finished. But he doesn't want that. He wants a redemption 8th inning, even though his team's trailing by 5. First pitch by Wilson is fouled away. That was a changeup to Nate George. It's 0-1. Now the catcher will put down a fastball. Wilson's done a great job of bouncing back throughout his career, and he looks solid in this AB against George, 0-2. Swing and a miss. Now Wilson's going to go for the put-away slider. His tail's away from a right-handed batter when it's on, as you see right there. He had no choice but to fight that off. It's 0-2. We're going to throw that same pitch again. Nope. No fastballs right now. Another slider. Another pop foul. Going to throw that to him again, but this time further away. The 0-2 pitch to Nate George.
Ball 1.
At the knees, but taken a little bit low. It's great discipline for a number 9 hitter. Now Wilson will look to put him away right here with a breaking ball. 1-2 coming. Ground ball to second. One down. So Wilson has now recorded 4 outs here today. He pitched the entire 7th. However, he did give up 3 runs. Jacksonville was able to get 2 of those back in the bottom of the 7th. But the Jumbo Shrimp still have a lot of ground to make up, trailing by 5 against the Tides here tonight. Here comes the first pitch slider from Jackson Wilson, which tails over the outside corner, but it's taken away for ball 1. Now the 1-0 to Garrett Hampson, another former big leaguer from the Colorado Rockies. There's a strike. It's like his manager was telling Wilson when they first called him up, you're going to see a lot more familiar faces from the major leagues here. A lot of them are on either rehab or they're on a stint to get their jobs back at the big league level. Wilson now going up against the best the league has to offer, and it's fought off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wilson's held his own for the most part. He's 5 out of 6 in save opportunities here in his sophomore season with the Miami Marlins organization. Playing on GOAT difficulty, he's hanging in there. There's a ground ball to first base. Pitch into contact and recording outs. That's how Wilson operates. He's very efficient in getting the ball in the zone. It all depends on what contact his opponents make. Norfolk was able to figure him out in the 7th. They scored 3 runs, but Wilson out for redemption. He's now got 26 pitches, trying to get 2 innings under his belt this afternoon. Here's a foul off the bat of Troy Johnston at 97 miles per hour. If you're just joining us, welcome in. This is Jackson Wilson with Ladder of Light Gaming, Major League Baseball 26 Road to the Show. We're beginning the 2027 campaign for Jackson Wilson, and that is lined foul as Johnson was way out in front of that changeup. 0-2. So far, we've got 5 saves and 6 opportunities for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. This was a non-save situation here today. Gave up 3 runs in the 7th, but we're looking for a quick 8th. Line drive into right, but that also is going to be playable. Great job by Wilson to throw strikes, and an even better job by his defense behind him. Norfolk gets 3 in the 7th, but Wilson gets 3 straight outs in the 8th. Can the Jumbo Shrimp rally? They got work to do, trailing 9-4. And how about this? Another stint today for Jackson Wilson. And he'll start by facing Heston Jerstad here in the 9th inning. Jerstad took Wilson deep the last time he faced him. That was on a fastball, and now he is 2 for 2. Lines that change up into center for a leadoff single. Great game for Heston Jerstad and the Norfolk offense and company. Now here is John Kinsey Noel. Noel also had a hit against Wilson back in what was a 3-run 7th inning. And he lifts one down the right field line foul. This one was a fastball at 96 miles per hour. It's 0-1. Wilson, who has been very efficient in getting first pitch strikes, looking to keep that up here in the 9th inning. Swing and a miss by John Kinsey Noel as Wilson ties him up. It's quickly no balls and 2 strikes. Now Wilson ready for another sign. The delivery is on the way. That gets away from the catcher. Another wild pitch from Wilson, who has to go retrieve it, and that'll put a runner at second base with nobody out here in the 9th. Wilson went for the put-away slider. Noel was patient. And you want to know how much movement was on that pitch? Look how far it traveled after hitting the back wall. And now the manager is going to signal to the bullpen. This is probably going to be the last hitter for Jackson Wilson on what was a busy day at the office. Line drive into right, base hit by John Kinsey Noel. Jerstad will hold at first base, or rather third. And there's runners on the corners, and that's going to be it, you would think, for Jackson Wilson. The manager does not make the move. Now it's Frederick Benscombe. The pitch by Jackson Wilson. Perfect release, lifted in the air. Out to right center. This is carrying. It's caught in front of the warning track. Jerstad will tag up and score. And it's 10-4 Norfolk. That's the 4th run given up by Jackson Wilson in a little bit more than 2 innings. Now Lucan Baker. Boy, the manager's letting Wilson get his workout in today. I think he wants Wilson to try to finish out 3 full innings. Here's Lucan Baker. It's taken for a ball. Jackson Wilson leans in for the sign. Runner at first base, 1 down in the 9th, which the Tides have already pushed a run across. They lead it 10-4, and now Baker lines one up the middle. That's a base hit. Now the pitches are starting to float over the heart of the plate for Jackson Wilson.
Now batting.
Just take me out of the game.
Willow.
Wow, it doesn't matter. They are just hanging me out to dry. Now Creed Williams. Willems takes a ball inside, but Wilson's going to challenge this. A non-save situation for Jackson Wilson, who is generally a closer for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. He was trailing from the very beginning. It was a 5-run deficit when Wilson came in for the 7th. And he's given up 4 runs so far here. There's a high strike to Creed Willems. It's 1-1. GOAT difficulty, MLB The Show 26. Road to the show with Jackson Wilson. That's grounded foul down the right field line. It's 1-2. Catcher puts down a changeup. We're going to go high and tight to Creed Willems. The pitch by Wilson. Got him! Strike 3. 2 down here in the ninth. So it does look like they want to get me through 3 innings. The only player left standing in the way of Wilson is Carson Taylor. Wide open stance. His front foot in the edge of the batter's box. And his back foot is in the back of the box. Wilson from the stretch with 2 on and 2 out. The pitch popped in the air. Left field. Shortstop goes out. Dives and he can't get it. They're going to try to score another run, and he is in there. Not a bad pitch from Jackson Wilson, but Norfolk again is able to push a run across. That's now 5 tallies that they have recorded against Wilson in 3 innings. Now Nate George. The pitch by Wilson. Breaking ball swung on and missed. This Norfolk offense, which has been high-powered the entire season, finally flexing its muscle against Jackson Wilson after he had owned them the first 2 games. Now the 0-1 to George. Another soft contact fly ball into right, and that's going to be caught. So Wilson gets through 3 innings of work here today. But it has not been the Jumbo Shrimps game. They trail by 7 with 3 outs to go. A dejected Jackson Wilson looking on as his team falls short by a score of 11-6. Those 5 runs that the Tides picked up in Jackson Wilson's 3 innings of work today proved the difference. That's how much they won by. But the good news is Jacksonville's still leading in the series, and they are still in first place at 9-5. And there are the numbers for Wilson. 5 runs on 8 hits in 3 innings of work. Picked up a couple of strikeouts. As you take a look at that 7th inning, Norfolk pushing across 7 runs, including 3 against Wilson. That's how they broke it wide open. And now Jackson Wilson will enter, hopefully for some revenge in a save situation. In my opinion, that was kind of a wasted outing when they put me out there with a 4-run deficit in the 7th. And they kept me in for 9 outs. I don't know what the management was thinking in that regard, but here's a save opportunity for Wilson. Jacksonville leading 5-4. Wilson's been very reliable in these situations thus far. He's only blown 1 save in the first couple of weeks. His ERA is not the most attractive, but that's only because he gave up 5 runs in 3 innings in a game in which his team was already trailing by 4 when he entered. And now Heston Jerstad, who was 2 for 2 against Wilson last game with a home run and a single, is taking all the way this time. That's a strike at 97 miles per hour, 0-1. Wilson looking for some redemption and trying to get Jacksonville back in the win column. Those are 2 perfect pitches to Heston Jerstad, and Wilson's thinking, why not challenge? The pitch looked like it was at the knees, but a good take by Jerstad. It was the correct call. It's upheld by our home plate umpire. Now 1-1. The pitch by Wilson to Jerstad. It's called strike 2. If Wilson's putting the fastball in that spot, that's bad news for the opponents. Now the 0-2 coming. Jerstad patiently lays off the breaking ball. It's 2-2. Top of the ninth inning. Jackson Wilson and the Jumbo Shrimp leading 5-4. Looking for the knockout punch here in the ninth inning. Gerstad barely gets a piece of that changeup over the outside part at 86 miles per hour. Now Wilson's going to go with the breaking ball inside. The delivery. Strike 3 called. Come on, umpire. Give it to me. Following this challenge, that should ring him up. Jackson Wilson could not believe it. You could see he was barking back at the home plate umpire. That had to be Angel Hernandez because that thing was right down the middle of the plate. So after review, Wilson gets the strikeout he deserves. And now here's John Kinsey Noel. Finally, some redemption for Wilson against Gerstad. He'll look for the same against John Kinsey Noel. He's been cooking with that breaking ball, and he'll go with it on the first pitch. Why not? But John Kinsey Noel takes it outside. It's 1-0. Now the catcher puts down a changeup. The pitch by Jackson Wilson headed home. There's a called strike. Again, the umpire missed the call. Come on, man. Look at this. Another obvious pitch. 1-1 the count. They don't want me to be great. The umpires may not lose you a game, but there's times they certainly won't help you. Did you see those last 2 pitches? Kiko Lowlams, the one that I threw the strike to get the K, and then this one to John Kinsey Noel. Check swing. He went around.
Check. What do you got?
Come on, Blue. He went. Challenge it. The call stands. Good start for us today, Kiko Lowlams. We're 5 out of our first 6 in save opportunities. ERA went up a little bit, but that's because we gave up 5 runs in 3 innings in a game which we were already losing. 3 balls and a strike to John Kinsey Noel. Not a time to fall behind on a hitter if you're Jackson Wilson. You don't want to get that go-ahead run to the plate. So Wilson's going to try to do a changeup here, get Noel off balance. There's a line drive over the head of the first baseman. Fair. Noel, however, can't run, and he is going to hold at first base. Yep, get that juice ready. We're going to need it. 1 on with 1 out for Norfolk here in the ninth inning. That was a great effort by the first baseman, but he comes up short of it. Wilson trying to pick up his 2nd save, or rather his 6th save in 7 opportunities. First pitch, fisted down the left field line, and that is going to go foul. Again, that was a great pitch by Wilson. It jammed him, but Benscombe somehow was still almost able to put that into the corner, and that would have most certainly tied the game if that landed fair. Now the 0-1 from Wilson. Strike 2, painted perfectly over the inside corner. It's 0-2. Jumbo Shrimp leading 5-4. Catcher puts down a fastball, but we're going to go breaking ball. The 0-2 coming from Jackson Wilson is grounded fair down the third base line. Noel goes to second. He's going to dig for third, and they're going to send him. The throw is in, and he's going to score. Tie game. Norfolk gets to Wilson in the ninth. Wilson's first blown save in the last 6 opportunities. Look where that hit was hit. He was late on it. He just wanted to put the bat on it, and guess what? That's all he had to do. Another tough break for Jackson Wilson. This series started out strong, but now he's got back-to-back adverse outings. Baker, chance for the lead, strike 1. Baker in this series, 7 out of 27. As he looks to put Norfolk on top. Wilson with the pitch. Breaking ball, grounded to second. That's through for a base hit. You have got to be kidding me. Norfolk takes the lead. A hard hit, or rather a soft hit ball. Look how softly this was hit. And he still found a hole with it. They were playing for the double play, and Baker took him the opposite way. That's just a great piece of hitting. And now Wilson's on the loser's end. He came into this game leading 5-4. Now it's 6-5 Norfolk. There's a strike to Creed Williams, but the umpire called it a ball. Unfortunately, we've run out of challenges. Now Williams, who is 0 for 3, he walks back in. The 1-0 pitch from Wilson, headed home. Lifted foul, 1-1. Wilson got the first out, but then he gave up a base hit to Noel, a game-tying double, and then a go-ahead single. 1-1 pitch coming. Popped up. This will get out of play. 1-2 to Creed Williams. Wilson trying to finish this inning strong. The pitch on the way. Got him on the changeup. 2 down here in the ninth. Big strikeout for Wilson. He's already fallen behind by a run. We got to keep him right here. Now it's up to Carson Taylor. Taylor with the open stance. Last game against Wilson, he had an RBI single. The pitch, called strike. 0-1. That was at 98 miles per hour. Wilson's going to stick with the smoke to Taylor. The pitch, they set up inside. That's where he goes with it. And a lazy fly ball into left. That's caught for out number 3, but not before the Tides tag Wilson for 2. They flip the script. My, how the Tides have turned. Jumbo Shrimp looking to rally, trailing by 1. And they don't. Wilson's going to take the loss. Came in with a 1-run lead, blew the save. Manager talking things over with him. Tough break. Couple of adverse outings in back-to-back games against a tough Norfolk squad. But the Jumbo Shrimp retain their first-place status at 9-6 in the International East. Strong finish, but a rough beginning for Jackson Wilson. And that'll take us to the end of this series. As you take a look at Wilson's ERA, it's up to 7.15 here at the AAA level. I had that down to 2.9 until Norfolk roughed me up a little bit in the last couple of games. I think we just need a new opponent. Wilson getting back in the bullpen for a little rehab. Keep that control up, because there's been a lot of times where I would be aiming for the outside corner or the inside, and it would end up on the complete opposite end of the plate or even down the middle. Control is what we're going to put before everything else. I don't care what anybody else may tell me. All right, back to the bottom of the 9th inning. Let's see if we can get some road cooking going. We're leading 2-0 against the Omaha Storm Chasers. 4 new viewers, glad to have you guys here. This is MLB 26 Road to the Show. With Action Jackson Wilson, we got the commentary turned off because I'm doing all that today, as well as giving you guys the gameplay. Yours truly is a closing pitcher for the Miami Marlins. Currently playing for AAA Jacksonville, looking to make the bigs. Gotten roughed up the last couple of outings. We're playing on GOAT difficulty, but Wilson's looking to bounce back right here and cap off a shutout for Jacksonville. It'll be the 8, 9, and 1 hitters coming up for Omaha. Wilson has given up a couple of runs away from home, but he's on a hot streak as of late with 4 consecutive saves. The pitch, that's lifted down the line by Peyton Wilson, strike 1. That's always what Wilson takes very, very serious, getting ahead in counts so we can control the flow of the AB. He's doing that right here with a 1-1 count to Peyton Wilson. That was a very, very tempting pitch, but Wilson is able to lay off. Got that right, Kiko Lowlams. Let's see what we can do. That's a good pitch from Wilson, right over the corner, but again, he doesn't get the call. It's 2-1. So let's try to drop a breaking ball on him. 2-2 pitch to Peyton Wilson. Ground ball to the second baseman. In the battle of Wilsons, Jackson beats Peyton, 1 down.
Now batting, left fielder, Connor.
If we end up saving this, I'm going to credit Kiko Lowlams for speaking it into existence. Just like when Heats have post-charcoal, we tend to do a lot better. Redemption time in the comments section, guys. See if that works out for us. Beautiful changeup for strike 1 to Connor Scott, who thought about swinging there, but his coach told him to lay off. It's 0-1. Now the next pitch from Wilson. Lined into left field, and it's down for a 1-out single. Tying run will come to the plate for Omaha. Wilson not panicking. See if we can get Luis Camposano to roll one over. First pitch slider. That's over the inside corner, but it's ball 1. The Storm Chasers of Omaha, the minor league affiliate of the Kansas City Royals, taking on the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp of the Miami Marlins. This is AAA. These players are one step away from the show. 1-0 pitch is lined into right field. Off the glove of the right fielder. He can't make the play, and now the runner's going to go to third, and the throw is offline. Runners at the corners with 1 out for Omaha here in the 9th inning. These hitters are not making it easy for Jackson Wilson here in the last couple of games. Now here is Vargas. Now the catcher will come out to have a word with his young gun. Record an out. That's all we have to do right here. Wilson to Vargas. Fouled off. Again, Wilson getting ahead in the count. It's 0-1. Let's go slider. The 0-1 pitch with 2 on and 1 out. Grounded up the middle. Diving stop. Out at second. Double play! We're still in it! Kiko Lowlands, what a time to post it! That is highway robbery in Omaha, and we're not talking about trades. It's the Jumbo Shrimp getting behind Wilson, and his road dominance continues. His 7th save in 9 opportunities. Again, they tried to find a hole on us, but the defense has been solid the entire season. And there it continues. First place Jumbo Shrimp, 11-6, first in the International East. Wow, we should get some momentum off that. Wilson lowers the ERA back below 7 at 6.57. If you take away that series against Norfolk, Wilson's ERA would probably be under 2. Wilson definitely bent, but he didn't break. That's why we need a total team effort, Kiko Lowlams. It's just like when we won the Super Bowl in Madden. As much numbers as I was putting up, we couldn't have done it without the defense. We couldn't have done it without the kickers. And just like in baseball, we can't do it without the defense, and we certainly can't do it without the offense. I need guys to score runs, and I need them to help behind me because I'm going to throw strikes. Usually there's going to be a lot of contact with me, so the teammates have got to be on their toes. When Wilson's on the mound, it is indeed a total team effort. All right, let's see if we can retire the side in order, make it back-to-back saves here in Nebraska. The pitch by Wilson, a beauty at the knees for strike 1. Wilson, who was taken in the 3rd round of the 2025 MLB draft, he was the top closing prospect and one of the top 20 players in the Marlins organization, trying to make the big league club, getting closer every day. That's fought off by Petrudes. 2 good locations for those fastballs out of the hand of Wilson. Now he's going to look for the put-away pitch here on the breaking ball. The delivery by Wilson. Pulled the string on him, but he's able to stay alive. Still 0-2. All right, let's tie him up. The 0-2. Lifted in the air to left. This is playable for out number 1, and there it is. I ain't no police officer, but I say it's time to put these hitters in handcuffs. Carson Rucker, former big leaguer, will walk to the plate. Rucker waiting on a slider from Jackson Wilson. Not many pitchers go to this as a first resort, but Wilson does, and you could see why. That was painted perfectly at the knees. Wilson gets the call. It's 0-1. Now the inside fastball coming next. Swing and a miss. There's the handcuffs. Carson Rucker had no idea what he was doing right there. And now the 0-2 pitch. Savage! He wouldn't go to that pitch after that one, would he? Oh, yes, he would. I'm going to tie you up with a fastball, and then I'm going to give you the fish hook. Oh, my goodness, that was perfectly executed by Jackson Wilson, 2 down. I might make a TikTok of that one, obviously, and we'll title that, "When You're So Scared You Almost Pee Your Pants as a Hitter." The hitter didn't want anything to do with Wilson in that, AB. That's fought off for strike 1. There's the traditional 0-1 count that you could usually expect from Jackson Wilson at this level. That's taken inside, 1-1. Wilson got into trouble in the 9th inning yesterday, but he was able to hang on for a save behind sensational defense. Today it's been more about his performance and effectiveness. The defense got the first out, but Wilson embarrassed Carson Rucker for out number 2, and now he's ahead of Connor Scott, 1-2. Can Wilson clutch up again and make it 8 saves in 10 opportunities to begin his sophomore year with the Miami Marlins, his first full year in Jacksonville? The delivery, slider, but Scott stays patient. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Scott batting from the left side. Slightly choked up on the bat handle, no batting gloves. Wilson settles in. He's ready. So is his catcher. The pitch on the way. Off the inside part of the bat, but that's going to get into the gap. It's going to drop for a 2-out double. My question is, how in the world does he hit it that far when it's on that part of the bat? Look at this. He was jammed. Even on the sound of the bat, you could tell. That's GOAT difficulty for you. Again, they're not making it easy for Wilson, but he's got to prove he can pitch in the clutch. The pitch. Slider. Looked good over the outside corner, but the umpire saw otherwise. Dustin Dickerson struggling tonight. He's got a strikeout and a pair of groundouts. He represents the tying run for Omaha. The 1-0 pitch from Jackson Wilson. That jams him off the end of the bat. This one's going to be caught, and that's it. Back-to-back saves for Jackson Wilson here in Omaha. He's 8 out of his first 10 here on GOAT difficulty, here on MLB 26 The Show. Another 0. We gave up a 2-out double, but we're able to work around it. The third-round draft pick for the Marlins is coming for that dream. He was a blue wahoo. Now he's a jumbo shrimp. The goal is to become a Marlin. Appreciate everybody's support through this. Yeah, I definitely agree with that, Kiko Lowlams. It definitely is no joke, just like the hardest difficulty we played on in every game. Remember backyard baseball in the World Series? Boy, we had our hands full against that squid squad on hard difficulty. Golly. If you don't believe me, check that out. We got a lot of other content posted for you guys. And we post almost every day, so like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget, Jesus Christ loves you guys. I don't care who you are, what you've been through. He is God, and He is forever the Savior of this world and the next. We may not have this forever. It may be temporary, but you will have either heaven or hell forever. The choice is yours on whether you want to accept Jesus or not. If it wasn't for Him, I would not be still standing throughout all this adversity. We're going to have trials. We're going to have temptation, but we can rest in victory and peace knowing that Jesus has overcome the world. We can endure. He kept going, and so should we. 5, 6, and 7 hitters coming up for Omaha. Jacksonville looking for another victory here. They've looked solid in the early part of this season, as well as in this series. Wilson with the high cheese at 96 miles per hour. I'm not going to challenge that one, but that looked like a strike. And it was a strike. We should have challenged. But it's okay. We're going to get him anyway. Let's go with the sweet stuff. The breaking ball drops right in from the top to the bottom floor. 1-1 from Jackson Wilson. Wilson ready with the next sign. Catcher puts it down. The kick and the pitch. That's at the knees, but again, the umpire doesn't throw up the fist. 2-1. Hitters count for Blake Mitchell with his team trailing by 3. Does he swing away or take another pitch? The answer is swing away, and Wilson knew it. He jammed him with the inside cutter, 1 down. Tell you, we've seen some ugly, ugly swing attempts by these Omaha hitters the last 3 nights because Jackson Wilson is getting in his zone. His pitches have more and more movement, and they have got these hitters fooled. 1 down here in the 9th. Jumbo Shrimp in total control, but you can't lose your focus. That lead can evaporate in a hurry. Anything can happen in this game. Perfect fastball from Jackson Wilson over the outside corner at 94 miles per hour on the radar gun. Now the 0-1. Cutter grounded to short. Good stab. Steps, throws, 2 down. It's a well-oiled machine for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Wilson executing strikes and his teammates making every play behind him. Carson Roccaforte, 0 for 2 with a walk. He's the last hope for Omaha, who needs a miracle. Trailing by 3 in the 9th inning. First pitch from Jackson Wilson. Slider for strike 1. Wilson 8 for 10, trying to make it 9 out of 11. He would drop his ERA under 6 if he can post another shutout 9th inning right here. That is a very close take by Roccaforte, but that was the correct call. Good eyes by our home plate umpire. 1-1 from Jackson Wilson. Ground ball to third. This should be another easy play. In the dirt, but dug by the first baseman. Pump of the fist by Wilson. That's 3 in a row in the same series. 9 out of his first 11. And Jumbo Shrimp continue to dominate the Storm Chasers here today. It's not just me, Kiko Lowlams. The whole team is locked in. Look at that record, 13-6. The defense behind us, making us, or rather, I was going to say make us pay, but rewarding us for throwing strikes. Pretty good strikeout rate at 15.3, and only one walk issued all season for Jackson Wilson. Look at that. Don't call that a comeback now. We trailed 2-0, but we scored 5 in the ninth. Great team effort, like Kiko Lowlams has already said. Team effort to steal that one and take a 4-0 lead in the series. We are all over it. And guess what? We're not done yet. Back here in Omaha for another contest. This time we got a day game as Jackson Wilson enters. 9 for 11 in save opportunities, a 5.65 ERA. Don't let that ERA fool you, because that's basically just one bad outing for Wilson in which he gave up 5 runs in 3 innings. Mind you, it was a game we were already trailing by a lot in, but there's going to be a lot of pressure here in this 9th inning. One mistake and it's all over. Wilson trying to clutch up and send this to extra innings. He'll deal with the 8, 9, and 1 hitters, beginning with Peyton Wilson. The next chapter of the Wilson rivalry begins with a swing and a miss. Jackson won the first battle. He's looking to do it again. Trying to stay locked in, the 0-1. Line down the left field line, and that's going to fall for a leadoff single. Again, that's not a bad pitch from Wilson, but give Peyton Wilson a lot of credit. He handled that tough pitch. He just put the bat on it, see? He got underneath it, he was jammed, but he put that in just the right place. Now Carson Rucker, who's got home run power, he could end it with one swing of the bat. But you know what he doesn't have? Speed. If he hits a ball on the ground and we get a clean play, that's going to be a twin killing. Let's throw him a slider and see how he handles it. The catcher agrees with me. The pitch to Carson Rucker from Jackson Wilson. Off the plate, it's 1-0. So Wilson can't blow a save here, but he certainly can lose it for us. He gives up a leadoff single, and now he's going to go after Rucker with the cutter. That's grounded under the glove of the first baseman. All he had to do was scoop that, but he could not come up with it. That was a double play if that hadn't gotten under the glove. But give Rucker credit. He hit that thing hard. They scored that a single, and rightfully so. Now the question is, do the Storm Chasers move the runner over with Luis Camposalo coming to the plate? Nope, they're swinging away.
That's a ball. That's
Camposalo taking. It's ball 1 from Jackson Wilson. We got to clutch up yet again, guys. This has not been an easy 9th inning. But Wilson's got to make it happen somehow. Here's a weak foul out of play. 1-1 as Wilson went for the fastball up. Now the 1-1 coming. Fans on their feet here in Omaha looking for their first win of the series. Grounded foul by Camposano. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Wilson trying to deal. Clutch up right here. 1-2 pitch to the leadoff batter on its way. Ground ball, foul. That also could have been a double play because the third baseman could have just tagged the bag and throw it across the diamond. Now Wilson's going to go for the knockout punch. Fastball up in the zone. Look out! And he's hit. Worst case scenario for Wilson. He tried to go up and in, and he nailed Camposalo right in the middle of the shoulder. That cannot feel good. And now we are in a very, very tight spot. Nowhere to put anybody. A couple of singles, a hit batter, and now here is Vargas. First pitch from Wilson. We got a lot of work to do here. Vargas looking to end it right there. All he needs is contact right in the right corner of the field. Wilson trying to keep him off balance. The 0-1. That's strike 2. Remember, a well-struck ball to the outfield wins the game. A ground ball deep in the infield wins the game. We need a strikeout. And we need it bad. The 0-2 from Wilson. Up and in, and that almost hit Vargas. You don't want to hit another batter because that results in a walk-off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wilson ready from the stretch. The pitch. In the dirt. Catcher with a nice block. Throw back to third. Oh, he's out! They got him! They got him! The catcher pulled the Mike Napoli in the World Series. What are you doing, man? That could be a game changer. Wilson and the Shrimp catch a break. What do we do with it? 2-2. 2 on with 1 out. The pitch by Wilson. Fly ball into center field. This is playable. That would have ended the ball game. But the runner at third was caught in between and tagged out. And now, all of a sudden, Jackson Wilson is 1 out away from getting out of this 9th inning, but he has to go through the red-hot Gavin Cross to do it. 2 on, 2 out. The bases were loaded with nobody out. But then a pick-off at third, and then a fly out to center. Now Wilson's pitch to Cross is taken inside 1-0. Boy, how frustrating this would be if Omaha can't win this game now. They had Wilson beat, but the Jumbo Shrimp had other plans. However, Wilson's behind in the count here. It's 2-0. Let's step off the rubber, take a couple deep breaths. Let's try to fit the changeup over the outside point. 2-0 pitch. Grounded foul. That's a good pitch by Wilson. Gross was looking fastball. Wilson gave him the change. Now here comes a fastball on 2-1. The delivery. Inside ball 3. On deck is Mitchell. Jackson Wilson given an extra life thanks to a brain fart over at third base by the Omaha Storm Chasers. They had the bases loaded, nobody out. He was picked off, and Wilson got a fly out to keep this game alive. And now another fly ball. This one into left. Wilson into and out of trouble. But it was a team effort coined by Kiko Lowlams that keeps us alive. Bases loaded, nobody out. The catcher does his thing. And then Wilson takes care of the rest. 2 flyouts, and now we've got the lead. 3-2 here in the bottom of the 10th. If Wilson can hang on, he picks up the win. But it's the heart of the order. Blake Mitchell first to bat. Now, it is worth mentioning that if we lose the game now, we can't really be too disappointed because we're playing with house money here today. Omaha should have won this game anyway. But with the way this season's been going for us, we may just get lucky. This would be a lucky win, no doubt. But we'll take it however we can get it. Wilson trying to clutch up again. First pitch cutter, inside 1-0. This is the 2nd inning of work for Jackson Wilson. Righty facing lefty, Blake Mitchell settles in. Wilson ready from the stretch. Here comes a 1-0 fastball. Strike over the outside corner at 96 miles per hour. Jackson Wilson, who came in with a career record of 1-10. He only has 1 minor league victory in his career. He could change that right here. Lazy fly ball into left. Long run for the left fielder. He's got it. 1 down. Wilson does it again. The base runner does not move. And now the question is, do we intentionally walk Connor Scott to set up the double play? I personally wouldn't, even though Connor Scott has a home run. And I also fear that the coach is going to take me out if I do give up the walk. So let's just end this inning without allowing a run. All we need is a fly out. That'll work because the runner can't score on that. First pitch from Wilson to Cross is a beauty. Fought off. 0-1. Ain't gonna lie, this would be one of the more satisfying victories of Wilson's career if he can hang on to this. The 0-1. Breaking ball, that's perfectly timed, and Scott's got no choice but to fight it off. 0-2. Catcher puts down a cutter. The pitch by Jackson Wilson on the way. Set up inside, and they got him! Scott frustrated. He can't believe Omaha's in this situation. That's what happens when you get careless. It may just come back to bite you. No chance. Scott down swinging. Wilson with 5 straight clutch outs. His catcher assisting on one of them. And now it's up to Jorge Alfaro. Wilson's confidence growing and growing with every pitch. That's a good one right there, but it's taken for a ball. Save your challenges. That looked inside. 1-0 the count. This would be a much-deserved win for Jackson Wilson and the defense if he can land it right here. Jorge Alfaro, the last hope for the Storm Chasers. Slider lined into right. That's down for a hit. Are they going to tie this game up? They are. So Omaha keeps the game going. Alfaro handles the slider, takes it the other way, and we got a new ball game at 3-3. But like I said, this run isn't charged to us, and the fact that we're still even in the game is a miracle. So unfortunately, we don't get the win, but we can get this to the 11th. Ian Petrus. Omaha could try to win this game after all, but we don't want that. Many thought Omaha should have had this game wrapped up already. I missed location with that slider. That was over the middle of the plate. I tried to throw it over the corner. Now it's up to Petrus. He fouls it away for strike one. This would still be a successful outing for Jackson Wilson if he can get this hitter. Here comes a cutter on 0-1. Oh, and now he's hit. 2 hit batters for Jackson Wilson today. And now Peyton Wilson. Man, oh my gosh. So whenever I want to put it over the corner, I throw it in the middle of the plate. When I want to throw it in the middle of the plate, I hit the batter. Makes perfect sense. Coach is keeping me in the game. Hoping that I can finish this off. Peyton Wilson lines it foul. That was a breaking ball, strike one. Wilson, who has struggled with runners in scoring position. Trying to get some redemption right here. Popped up into center field. We didn't quite save it, but we kept us alive to the 11th. Wilson gives up a hit, hits a batter, but he's given up no earned runs in 2 innings. May have blown the save, but we do have another chance to win. And look at this, guys! Now we're up by 4! And Wilson's going to remain in the game. The pitch. Swung on and missed, strike one. The 0-1. That's a strike. Nothing in 2. Yeah, that's the goal, to hit both spots, Bates. But when you're playing on GOAT difficulty, it's hard. It really is hard because the timing is different and the overall skill of the hitters are as well. Look at this.
Ball.
3 times we hit the red. Off the plate, 1 and 2. Come on, man. We got to get that dub. Wilson ready with the changeup. The pitch. Hits the red again, but it's down and away. 2 and 2. Wilson, no runs allowed in 2 innings. We'll try to protect the 7-3 lead here in the 11th. The pitch. Red. Check swing. No, he didn't. It's a full count. Challenge it. The call stands. All right, 3 and 2. Risky pitch, but we're going to go breaking ball. See you later. Wilson clutches up again. Red bar. Line bar. Perfectly timed. Wilson with 6 big outs here today. And now Luis Camposano. We don't want to worry about that runner at second because number 1, if he scores, we're still up 3. But 2, that run's not even charged to us. And now Wilson to Camposano, the pitch. That's at the knees, but call the ball. Yeah, I was thinking about challenging that, but I think that was the right call. Now the 1-1 pitch from Wilson.
That's a ball.
That's down and away. Excuse me, that was a 1-0 pitch, and now it's 2-0. It's going to be looking fastball. Let's give him the change. 2-0 coming. There's a strike. 2-1. Wilson looking for his first win of the year for the first place Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. The 2-1. Inside, 3-1. You don't want to walk anybody right here, especially up by 4. Wilson needs a big pitch right here. And
take your base. Ball
oh
4.
my gosh, another close take by Camposano, but he is on here in the bottom of the 11th inning. They're going to stick with Wilson right here. 2 on with 1 out. Edelmo Vargas batting from the left side. Stands in with the open stance. First pitch from Wilson on the way.
Ball.
Another pitch over the inside corner. No call. 1-0 the count. What do you guys think of these pitches in the comment section? I know the strike zone says it was a ball, but man, that's frustrating. Line drive and over the head of the shortstop for a base hit. 1 run's going to score. And it's 7-4. Tying run coming to the plate for Omaha. Hold the phone. Both teams fighting hard for this win here today. And now we have a dynamic challenge with Gavin Cross. Gavin Cross, 2 out of 4 with a double and a single. The catcher goes out to talk. Come on, we got to end this inning without allowing another run. A home run ties it. You got to be careful. We're going to go fastball up and in. The pitch. Strike 1. Goes at 96 miles per hour. Slider. The pitch by Wilson.
Ball.
Right at the knees. But called low. 1-1. Wilson with the next delivery. That's a strike at the knees. 1-2 the count. 7-4 Jacksonville. What a ball game this has been. Bates, I could have swore I've been hitting the red every time. I think that's what I've been doing. Got him, strike 3. Gavin Cross again tied up by Wilson. Showcasing his stamina here today. 48 pitches and he's hanging in there. 1 out away from wrapping up a victory. Omaha had the bases loaded, nobody out against Wilson in the 9th. He was able to get out of it somehow. And now all he needs to do is get Blake Mitchell to trigger the celebration. Strike 1. Jacksonville's taken the first 4 games of this series, trying to improve the 5-0 against the Omaha Storm Chasers. The 0-1. Cutter popped in the air. And Jacksonville breaks Omaha's heart again. And Jackson Wilson with 3 innings of no earned runs. He's the winner. We didn't get the save, but we got the dub. What a job. What a team effort by Jacksonville. This game never makes it easy for us, but we are 14-7, first place in our division. Wilson also walked the batter and hit a couple of guys. But hey, no earned runs. That's all that matters. The ERA is going to get smaller as we go into the next series. Wilson with 50 pitches here today, 30 for strikes. Appreciate everybody's support. Bates for the input, the advice. That was absolutely right. Now we got the ERA down to 4.67. Come on, guys. This is what it's about. Winning. Yes, we're here to have fun. Yes, we're here to play for Jesus. But we also have the goal of winning. Getting saves. Locking things up. Wilson's doing his best here at AAA. Next appearance, we're back at home. Well, as you can see, we're sending pitchers away. The question is, are they making it room for us on the big league club? Jackson Wilson continuing to work on his control mechanics. And this is somebody he's had a lot of success against this year. Along with Omaha, the Charlotte Knights have definitely had their work cut out for them against this hungry right-handed kid out of the University of North Carolina. 22 hits given up in 17 innings for Wilson, but his ERA continues to lower. 4.62, Wilson with 3 scoreless innings in relief to help lead Jacksonville to an epic victory in Omaha. And now they look to get some home cooking against Charlotte. They're one of the teams that has gotten to Wilson in a save situation, but ever since then, Wilson has had their number. He looks to continue that with a 3-0 lead. First pitch of the 9th inning is a strike. Change up over the inside corner at 85 miles per hour. A great job by Jackson Wilson to maintain his position at AAA. He hasn't been called back down. Despite the adversity, he has been battling through it. There's another good pitch. You know what? Let's take a look at that one. We got nothing to lose right now. All right. Good call, umpire. I give you credit. I just wanted to see how close that pitch was. All right, we still got one challenge left. We got to use that wisely. Catcher puts down a changeup.
That's ball two.
And it's a good spot for Wilson, but again, the hitters remaining patient in this spot. Knights might even take 2 strikes in this situation, trailing by 3. The 2-1. That's ripped into right for a base hit. Great job to get that into a hitter's count, and Edward Cuero got a pitch to hit and lined it into the outfield, and he's aboard to begin the 9th inning for the Knights, who have been shut out here today. They need one more base runner to have a chance. Here's Ivan Melendez. Wilson will go with the fastball in the first delivery. Here it comes. That's fouled away at 96 miles per hour. 0-1. Wilson, ever since the last home series against Norfolk, he has not given up an earned run, despite being put in a lot of pressure situations. He's trying to keep that streak going against Charlotte. Here's a fly ball into center field, sending the center fielder back a few, and that's going to go off the wall. And Charlotte all of a sudden has got its rally cap on. Runners at second and third with nobody out, and again Jackson Wilson is going to have his back against the wall. Goat difficulty does not let you live. That was also my fault because that fastball caught a little bit too much of the plate. Again, not where I was aiming it, but it is what it is. All right, Caden Connor. You know, I guess this makes things more interesting, I suppose. This is going to be tough, but let's try to end the inning without allowing a run. Here is Connor. First pitch from Jackson Wilson. Cutter, popped in the air out to right. We'll definitely take this even if the run scores. Catch made, runner tags. Good throw by the right fielder, and he is safe. The runner at second will also advance to third. One down here in the 9th inning. We'll take it. So the Knights break the ice. They get their first run of the game. And now Enrique Hernandez, a.k.a. Kike Hernandez. He popped out his last time up. He represents the tying run against Wilson. Top of the 9th, 1 out. First base opens. Ball 1 to Kike Hernandez. Again, that pitch that was right smack on the corner. Wilson tried to nibble it, but he couldn't get a clean bite. 1-0. That is hammered down the left field line, and it is foul. 4 feet foul. Kike Hernandez was looking for the tie, but Wilson catches a break, and he's taking full advantage of it. A swing and a miss. It's 1-2. As they say about great players, you do not want to give them a second chance. That's the mentality Wilson has now. The Jumbo Shrimp keep their lead. And he got him on strikes. Sit the you-know-what down, big leaguer. The kid just embarrassed you again. You thought you had the home run, but you didn't. Instead, you got the strikeout. Take a seat. 3-1 Jacksonville, still in the 9th inning. Caleb Bomer, last man standing for Charlotte. Wilson again bending but refusing to break. First pitch to Bonnemer. His line fouled on the third base line. 0-1. That was a cutter off the end of the bat. The next pitch from Wilson. That's a perfect one. Oh, my goodness. Umpire doesn't give Wilson the corner, even though that looks like it clipped a centimeter of it. Now the 1-1 pitch from Wilson. Popped up. This is playable. The Jumbo Shrimp survive again. And Wilson picks up another save. That's his 10th of the year. And it's still a young season. Jumbo Shrimp maintaining their first place pace. Good news for the Knights. They were able to break up the shutout, but they fell short of the win. Kike Hernandez was 4 feet away from tying this game, but Jackson Wilson, like we said, he bent, but he didn't break. And we only give up 1. The ERA climbs a little bit, but as long as we can get the win for our team, that's all that matters. Wilson in the mist of Jacksonville, Florida, taking another trot in for his 15th appearance. You can see the opponents have a pretty healthy average against Jackson Wilson thus far. But what matters is Jackson is getting the saves. Boy, he's got to clutch up right here. He's got a runner at third with 2 outs. Caleb Bonnemer, who Wilson retired for the final out of yesterday's game, he could get him and send us to the 10th with an opportunity to win the game. This is definitely crunch time right here. First pitch from Wilson on the way is at the knees, but called ball 1. Wilson's had his fair share of those here today. That's a great place to put it because it's not in the middle of the plate, but at the same time, it's right down central, very tempting. That's upstairs 2-0 to Caleb Bonnemer. A walk wouldn't be the end of the world right here because it gives us more opportunities for a force play. Wilson wants to get the batter right here. 2-0 to Bonnemer. Fouled away. That was an 86-mile-an-hour slider up in his zone. Let's go breaking ball. 2-1 coming from Wilson. Up the middle. Shortstop's got to get to it. He does, but there's no play. Off the end of the bat, but he found a hole, and Charlotte takes the lead. That run will not be charged to Wilson. But that's another tough break for Wilson and the Jumbo Shrimp. Look where that pitch was. Somehow, some way, he was able to get a hit off that. Now the delivery. Ripped into right, caught by the second baseman. That'll end the inning. All is not lost. Wilson couldn't keep the game tied, but he limits them to 1. And we'll have a runner at second base with nobody out in the bottom half. We tie up the game, and we win! We still got the win! A win is a win! Kiko Lolam's right on time in the comments section. And it looks like the win is going to go to us. If we want it in the 10th, that's going to be the case. Excellent work, guys. Teammates have each other's backs. That's another dub for Jackson Wilson. He improves to 2-2 on the season. And what makes it even better is that run wasn't even charged to us. And honestly, that wasn't even our fault that it scored, because that's on the hitter for somehow getting on base on that tough pitch. Like, what more was I supposed to do there? Solid month overall for Jackson Wilson. He's got a 4.5 ERA, a couple of wins, 10 saves, 12 strikeouts, and as an added bonus, his team is 18-8. Let's go, guys. Let's keep this going, y'all. Jackson Wilson locked in, taking some stretches, and here he comes. Is this going to be another save situation? That's the question. Well, to welcome you guys once again to MLB 26, the show. This is yours truly, Jackson Wilson, with Road to the Show, closing pitcher, third-round selection to the Miami Marlins, playing for AAA Jacksonville, one step away from the bigs, and also 3 outs away from picking up another save. Caleb Bonnemer will lead it off against Wilson here in the bottom of the 9th inning. First pitch is poked into right field, and that is going to be a fair ball. Again, off the end of the bat, and now the right fielder completely missed it, and the tying run is going to go all the way to third. That was not a pretty defensive sequence right there, but give Bonnemer credit. He handled a tough pitch. Off the end of the bat, he had to go the opposite way with it. All right, you know what? We're going to intentionally walk this guy. I usually don't do this, especially in a one-run game, but we're going to have to. I'd rather get a double play and a run scorer than get 1 out and none at all. We are at the bottom of the order. Let's see what we can do with this. Jacob Amaya, who is 0 for 3. He grounded out back in the 2nd. He'll try to be the hero against Jackson Wilson here in the 9th. That's fouled away as he tried to go to the opposite field. 0-1. Now, catcher, we're going to go fastball up and in the zone. The pitch by Wilson, here it is. That's a strike. 0-2. Boy, we would love a K right here. 1st and 3rd, nobody out. Wilson going for the slider. The pitch on the way. Outside, good eye by Jacob Amaya. A sacrifice fly will tie the game, as well as a perfectly placed ball into the infield. The Knights could trade a double play for a run as well. They would most certainly take that. Line drive into left, and that's a base hit. We're tied. Charlotte has tied the game at 2 here in the ninth. A leadoff triple, the intentional walk to set up a double play, but that didn't do much of anything. All right, now we got to start fresh. Manager will make a move, take Wilson out of the game. That's Wilson's 3rd blown save of the season. Let's hope it doesn't come back to bite us.
For the jumbo shrimp, number 93.
And it did. Wilson takes the loss. He drops to 2-3 on the year. All the runs that scored in that 9th inning were charged to him. Tough break, guys. Tough break. But you knew when that inning started, when that right fielder crashed into the wall and missed the ball, we should have seen the writing on the wall. I mean, I'm very appreciative of what our defense has done this year, but right there, they just looked like little leaguers. They pulled the Chambers. A couple of you guys will know what I'm talking about when I say that. All right, that'll take us to the end of this series. All right, 1 series left to go. And we'll have to do it against the Rail Riders. Wilson getting back in the bullpen. This time let's try out the breaking ball. This is the life as a closer, guys. Sometimes it's not your day and you're just going to have to live with it. But the bottom line is we're at AAA. We're continuing to ascend. We still have a chance to make the big leagues. We got a lot of career left. Like I said, just got to keep getting in that bullpen, keep improving your game. And that's what Wilson's going to do. ERA doesn't look very attractive. It's at 6.27. But Wilson, nonetheless, is still trying to do his job as a closer for this team, which, by the way, is doing very well. Jacksonville, known as the Bold City, is in first place in its division. Boy, that would be some great experience for Wilson, helping teams in a pennant chase. It may not be the majors, but it'll still give Wilson an opportunity to show what he can do in the biggest games of the year. All right, another chance at redemption right here against the 5, 6, and 7 hitters for the Rail Riders, who Wilson had some experience against last season in his short time with Jacksonville. He'll look to start this off right against George Lombard. Lombard shows bunt, and he fouls off a first pitch fastball, 0-1. This is our final series of today here on Ladder of Light Gaming. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. This is Jackson Wilson with MLB 26 Road to the Show on GOAT difficulty. Breaking ball is lined foul by Lombard Jr. It's quickly 0-2. Again, how did he hit that pitch? Look how far out of the zone it was. Wilson going for the high cheese on 0-2. Look out. That was my fault. That was a terrible release. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Maybe that'll rattle Lombard, though. Sometimes when a hitter sees that pitch that close to the head, it affects their game. But Lombard remains disciplined. Wilson misses with the changeup. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now the catcher puts down a cutter. Wilson's going to go inside with it. The delivery. Grounded foul. Great at bat by Lombard after falling behind 0-2. Wilson came into this game 10 out of 13 in save opportunities. Looking for save number 11 here today. That misses, and it's a full count. From 0-2 to 3-2 to George Lombard. Catcher wants a fastball, but Wilson says change up. The pitch. Got him on strikes. Lombard looking for the walk. He couldn't get the bat off his shoulder. Again, Wilson's not the pitcher you want to have that patient mindset against. He will throw you a strike at some point. And now Fernandez, 1 out, nobody on, here in the 9th inning. First pitch by Jackson Wilson, headed home. Popped up on the third base side. This will stay in play. 2 out. What a great inning for Jackson Wilson, getting that big strikeout, getting a pop out to third, and now it's up to Jesus Valdez, who is 0 for 3 with a strikeout, a fly out, and a ground out. Wilson trying to make it 0 for 4 and put an end to this game here today, which is led by Jacksonville 2-0. Weak pop-up behind the plate and foul. It's 0-1. That was a Wilson cutter. at 95 miles per hour. Now here comes a fastball. That's a strike. 0-2. Rail Riders down to their final strike as the manager looks on. It's been a frustrating game to watch for him. Pitchers with a great effort, but the offense has been dormant. The 0-2 coming from Wilson. Ground ball to second. That's the Wilson we know. Perfectly sets down the Riders 1-2-3, and that's his 11th save of the year in 14 opportunities. And this is all in 1 month for Wilson. He's been doing his thing for the most part here at Jacksonville. The Jumbo Shrimp have given him plenty of opportunities to save games, 14 in all. Like I said, we've made the most of them. Here we go, Hetav. You came just in time. This is actually our last series of the day. You'll at least get to see a little bit of it. Heck yeah. Adversity as usual for Wilson, but W's in the chat. Thanks, Hetav. Let's go. Come on, let's get some more outings for the viewers. We don't want this series to end yet. Yes. We want more of those Rail Riders today. The ERA doesn't look the most attractive, but Wilson, for the most part, has been very efficient with the save opportunities. 11 out of 14. I'm going to say it again. I did have an appearance which I gave up 5 runs in 3 innings, but that was a game when we were already losing by 4. But if you take that away, it's pretty much been a solid campaign overall in all aspects. All right, here's a pressure situation right here. We got Oswaldo Cabrera leading off in the 9th. In a 5-5 game in the 9th, Wilson trying to keep him right here and send it to extra innings. That was a good pitch to open the AB, but he doesn't get the call. It's 1-0. Now the 1-0 pitch to Cabrera. Inside, 2-0, and we're going to double check on that. Wow, good eyes by the umpire. Again, great discipline by Cabrera. Those are 2 very hittable pitches, but he didn't take the bait. Now the 2-0 from Wilson. Line down the left field line, and this is going to be off the wall. Left fielder tried to dive for the catch, but he collided, and now the winning run is at second with nobody out for the Rail Riders here in the 9th. Dynamic challenge incoming. Drew Avons. One of the hottest hitters in this series for the Rail Riders. He's 7 out of 15. Can't let that run score. As they win if they do. No room to breathe here for Wilson. First pitch is swung on and missed by Drew Avons. Wilson has to battle in order to get this game into extra innings. Breaking ball coming next. That's a beauty, and it's grounded foul. 0-2 to Drew Avons. Now let's try to tie him up with a cutter. Wilson would love a strikeout right here. And he gets one! He throws him with the cutter. Avons can't believe it. Wilson boldly living up to the name on his jersey. Bold City. Yep, I threw you that on 0-2. Not afraid of you, man. And now David Fry. And now we will hand out the intentional walk to set up the double play.
Now batting, the second baseman.
This is the time for it. Usually when you're facing a 5-hitter, he's not that fast. I know he's got a home run today, but I'd rather take my chance at this part of the lineup with a double play possibility in order. Ground ball, and it's inside the bag. You got to be kidding me. They're going to win. If that was hit to any other part of the field, that's a double play. But of course, knowing our fortune in these situations and it being on GOAT difficulty, they win the game yet again. Wilson with his 4th loss on, again, a pitch that wasn't terrible, and you could see the frustration on his face. Look at this. Completely fooled him. Off balance, but he slips it down the line for a game-winning hit. If that was hit a little bit more to the right, that's a double play and we're going to extra innings. But no. Got to live with it, as they say. This is crazy, man. Got to shake it off. Let's get the next one. Still in first place, 21-11. Yeah, you can say that again, man. Those are always tough ones to take, bro. Feel like I made good pitches the entire series, but wasn't meant to be for us that time. All right, now we got a message from the Marlins analytics department. Let's see what happens right here. Wilson will get in the bullpen. Let's work on that break. A couple of the cutters I've been throwing have been as straight as a string. Yeah, a little too late for the charcoal today because that was our last appearance of today's stream, but we should be back tomorrow. All right, that's going to do it for our first month, our first full month of AAA baseball here at Jacksonville. As you can see, it was rather adverse. Wilson with a 6.3 ERA in 20 innings. Did pick up 15 strikeouts and 11 saves, but there's a lot of room for us to improve. And that's the goal. You can never be too good. You could always be better. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Like, comment, and subscribe. That would definitely be appreciated. May the peace that passes beyond all understanding and the unconditional love of Jesus Christ be yours today in his holy and almighty name. Overall, as a team, 21-12, first place. Can't be disappointed about that. Take care, guys.